Hello, I am Reverend Erin-Ashley. I'm the founder of spiritualmechanic.com. And if this is your first time tuning in to me, then this is a weekly Wednesday edition of Dream Interpretation. Every Wednesday, I interpret a few people's dreams. And if you want your dream interpreted, make sure you're in the Spiritual Mechanic Facebook group and comment on the Sunday post where I have a call for dream interpretations. So this week, I'm interpreting two dreams. The first dream is from Simran, and it will be in the description so you can read her comments about her dream. And she says, I woke up crying from a dream that my father had died, and I was so upset because I hadn't seen him in a long time and I hadn't been able to say goodbye. I have a hunch of what this means in relation to some real life stuff going on, but I'd love to go deeper. And I asked for her for a little bit of clarification because she alluded to real life stuff going on, and that is always relevant whenever you're working with your dreams. And so I asked whether they had a good relationship in waking life, and she said that she used to have a good relationship with him, but it has kind of deteriorated over time. He's become withdrawn. He has not really been himself, and he hasn't really engaged. He listens, but he doesn't really engage like he used to. And so here's the type of thing that you want to look at, Simran, whenever you're dreaming about family members, whenever you're dreaming about people who you know in waking life. The first thing you always want to look at is, what is your waking relationship with this individual? And does this person represent something else to you as well? Now, for you, Simran, I really suspect that this dream is an indicator of the fact that the person your father used to be is gone, right? The way that he used to be, the way that your relationship used to be has transitioned. And so your subconscious is processing this, and your intuition is letting you know that he is not here with you the way that he used to, and likely isn't coming back. This likely isn't from your guides per se. This is likely from your subconscious, because whenever you have a message from your guides through a dream, you usually will experience peace. So this means that this is a fear of yours. You think you're never going to have him back, and you're processing that. And you feel like the man that he used to be is someone that you can't really connect with anymore. That person is gone, and you never got a chance to say goodbye. Whenever you're dreaming of someone that you know that passes away, that almost always represents that a part of their identity is no longer present for you. That means that their identity has changed so much that it feels like a death. So you can think of it like an ego death. Whenever we're doing spiritual work, we'll often change how we show up, and we'll let go of old versions of ourselves. And it's pretty common whenever we do that. Sometimes our friends will start dreaming of us dying, just because we've changed so much that that's just a normal part of that process. People notice whenever you change how you're showing up in the world. And so that is likely what's coming up, Simran. My best advice to you, based on this dream, is to start to process your grief around the fact that the father, as you used to know him, may never come back. It might be that the man that you used to know is just incapable of returning to you in the way that your heart really longs for. So make sure you're doing really wonderful self-care. And if you need to go and do any releasing, this is the Mercury retrograde period in Pisces. So this is a great time to do that deep inner emotional releasing. And you can set that old version of your father free while working to connect in whatever way you can with the version of him that's present now. I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to do a little troubleshooting if you want a little clarification. So let's move on to Grace's dream. Grace's dream is really interesting. And so I'm going to read. It's kind of a long comment, and so that will also be in the description. So here's what she says: I'm up in the clouds. It's beautiful. It looks like a Nepalese monestary, and I can see my family gathered in the distance. They are enjoying themselves. I am looking at a screen, and I see my name. There's a heavenly body behind me, but the light is so bright that I cannot see their face. It is a masculine presence with strong and dark hands reaching over and pointing to my name. Without them speaking, I hear, "You have 4 days left." My soul is at peace, but I say, "At least I'll be spending it with family." I hear over and over, "Iwa Pele, Iwa Pele." Intuitively, I know that it is Orunmila, a Yoruban deity known likened to Thoth, the portion of our creator that represents wisdom, all knowing. Iwa Pele means good character. I'm not initiated in Ifa, and I thought about it at one time, but I'm not interested in that. I'm more interested in root work in general and just witchy stuff altogether. I'm a vivid, lucid dreamer, and I always have been, even before I knew what it was or what it meant. This dream was in December. I also had two really vivid dreams of my grandmother at that time with messages. I have not understood this dream and have not forgotten about it. And so, okay, I want to talk a little bit about this because this is um, this is a fascinating dream for a couple of reasons. It reminds me of a dream that I had where a deity from a culture that's not mine came to me to give me a message, and the message took me years to fully get the meaning of, not because I didn't understand or I couldn't interpret it at the time, but because it was meant to be a transformational dream. It was meant to touch me in such a way that it shifted me over the years as I interacted with it. So I'm going to tell a little bit of my story, and then I'm going to connect it back to you, Grace. So it was in 2012 or 2013. It was a bit ago. And I had a dream that I was in Hawaii and I was next to a body of water, and the goddess Pele showed up and showed me, I was trying to get a chest from out from underneath the water, and she told me to stop trying to get the chest out, and she showed me how to dive in and grab one tablet out over time. And I'm not initiated in any Hawaiian teachings. I was never trained after that in Hawaiian teachings. And so it was just a really fascinating dream because a goddess from a lineage that's not mine came through. And that dream at the time was specifically so that I could learn to unpack my spiritual skills and gifts a little bit at a time and instead of trying to do it all at once. And that was where I was going wrong in my path, on my path. And it was a beautiful dream. It was so striking. And I was very blessed that I had a dear friend who was of Hawaiian lineage who helped me work with it and understand it. So, Grace, your dream feels very similar to me. This is the type of dream that you get whenever there is a spiritual message on the soul level, right? And so there's a couple pieces we're going to look at. First off, 4 days left. 4 days left. So numerologically, the four is a very foundational number. It's about getting the foundations in place. So a four will show up whenever it's time to work on your foundations. We're in a 4 year right now, numerologically. So 2020 is all about the basics. It's getting the foundations. It's reviewing and building all of those pieces, those aspects. A pyramid generally has four corners, right? It's one of the most stable structures that there is. And that is because of the number four. And so whenever you see a four in a dream, that is giving you a very clear sign that that number is important, especially since it showed up during your a spiritual message, if you will. The next thing that's interesting here is the days. So days left. So a day is a solar cycle, right? So it's just like the Earth, or I guess it's the Earth cycle. The Earth rotates once. That's it. And so it's representing a cycle of time. And usually it's not going to be literal. Days can be, you just want to think of cycles of time. So it's a four cycle. So it's either four cycles left, etc. But whenever you're thinking of this, you want to look at the four. What are you building? What is your foundational thing that you're building right now that you're called to do? This is a 4 year. This happened in December. I suspect that it has something to do with the fact that this is a 4 year numerologically. My favorite numerologist right now is Carrie Samuels. I know her. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. I love her work. And so if you're looking for more numerology, make sure to check out Carrie Samuels' workout. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. But also, whenever you're receiving a message that's for you from a deity that you've decided not to work with in that deeper path led way, then you also want to look at, okay, what are the surrounding things that are important in this tradition that my soul is calling me to. What's also interesting is at the beginning of your dream, you are being lifted up, or I'm sorry, you have strong dark hands reach over and point to your name, right? So these are hands that have strength to them. So it's showing you, either hands represent work or showing you your work, and your name is getting putting on a screen. And so it's letting you know that you have spiritual work left here to do, even if you're not going in that tradition, right? So you still have more spiritual work to do with Iwa Pele and with the different whoever you feel called to work with there. So you really want to make sure that you're doing a deep dive, right, with that. And it doesn't mean that you have to get fully trained in the lineage. What it does mean is that you want to listen to the specific aspects that are calling to your soul and honor them, because especially if you're going in the root work direction, there may be aspects that are asking to come through where you're not appropriating, you're not stealing from anyone's tradition. Obviously be respectful, make sure you're asking someone of that tradition what is considered appropriation and not, but usually some aspects are asking to come through. So over time, what will happen is, as you work with the stream, as you start your iterative process where you're going over and over and over again of working with Iwa Pele, and whatever that means for you, that will start to illuminate your path. Now, you're likely not going to get a clear definition of this dream or clear translation, because this is a soul transforming dream. It's not meant to have a literal definition that you just translate and it turns into a checklist. Oftentimes, most of the time, 99% of the time, that is what dreams are. They have a definite translation that you can do something with and you can make a shift based on it. But this is a very specific and rare type of dream, which is likely why it's been hard for you to translate. This is a dream that's meant to change you at the core over time. So let me know if that helps, Grace. And if you have any other follow-up questions, go ahead and put them in the comments and I'll be happy to help you. Thank you, and I will see you next week.